actionfigureresource.com. Yesterday's toys, today's treasures.
Welcome back to another action figure review for Action Figure Resource. This time we are going with the NECA Ultimate T-800 Terminator figure from T2 Judgment Day. And I have got a lot to get through, because this is one deluxe fan favorite type figure. Okay, so first off, the box. They got rid of that clamshell packaging where you got to get it out with scissors and the blowtorch. This is a beautiful presentation case. Look at that. With the figure displayed inside in similar clamshell packaging, but it can be removed. This is actually second-hand. This can be removed and then put back in for display, and if resold without having to really pay that same concession to it being loose, because it's still boxed. Obviously, people who like them absolutely sealed, that'll still be an issue. But to all intents and purposes, this is a figure that can be sold carded and loose at the same time. But I mean, aside from anything else, the presentation on this, it basically looks like something that would have come out in 1991 along with Terminator 2 if action figures were that good back in those days. And in fact, I recall I had a whole bunch of the Kenner Terminator action figures. I think the closest one to this guy on the shelf that I could get was the one with the giant rocket launcher arm. Sleeveless jacket with the bare arm with the robot parts. And now I've finally got this one, and I'm very happy. Actually, also, I now recall, I also got the McFarlane version, which was released in the mid-2000s when they couldn't get the likeness to Arnold Schwarzenegger's face, and they had to give you kind of a mangled-up version that wasn't obviously Schwarzenegger and was still definitely the T-800, but was displaying battle damage that was never in the movies, so that always felt like a bit of a cheat and inauthentic. So, let's open this bad boy up. Okay, so I'm actually going to show you the opening because it's a bit more procedure to it, and it's less just hacking into plastic like the other ones. Okay, so you open up the top, the cat goes into the box, the cat goes, for goodness sake. Maybe I shouldn't show you this. Oh no, here we go, we got it. Hook your thumb under and then just slide out like so. Okay. Giant plastic coffin for the T-800. Okay. Now, as you can see, all the accessories displayed here, neatly sellotaped into their box. I'm actually going to show this to you in 3 different figures because the various accessories and heads combine into 3 distinct stages of the T-800 throughout Terminator 2. Okay. And the way this works, you simply tip this forwards and then you can get at those little ties at the back there. So let's do that now. Let's take this down. Voila. Now, let's see if we can get this as close as possible. This is your first act Terminator from T2. He's got his Winchester there. And the sunglasses when I mean, this is just like that bad to the bone version of Terminator 2. So, first up, I can now talk about the articulation here. Now, what this basically is NECA did a whole bunch of different but similar Terminators from different stages of the movie in their previous lines. Very few of them had articulation in the legs. So what they've effectively done here is given you the same basic body for most of them. There's one with the damage to the torso from the factory, which unfortunately this does not include, although interchangeable torsos would have been very nice. And 3 different heads that came on those models. So what you basically have is 3 different Terminator figures boiled down into one with better leg articulation and all the accessories. Ergo, if you already own at least one of those, then really you're going to have to think, do I want this just for the articulation? Do I want this and I'll sell the older one? Do I want this just so that I've got another one to display in a different way to the ones I've already got? If you haven't got a Terminator figure, but you're thinking of getting one, the very reason I chose this one in particular was that it covers all the bases. So there's something about this one, with the sunglasses on, that just sort of reminds me of the one of the first Terminator, that kind of completely blank expression, and just pointing a gun around the place. This is when he's just wandering around the police station, gunning down cops in a horribly merciless way. It's scary. Really, really glad I have this variant head. And there's a lot of, because they're joined at the neck, there's a ball joint just under the collar here, allowing for some really fantastic sort of, looking around in all directions. And it's firm at the same time, and it holds its position, which is lovely. Ball jointed arms, elbow articulation, wrist articulation. This is a sort of a firm rubber type material for the jacket. If you want to be super pedantic, he wouldn't have had these bullet holes in this early stage. But, so technically they could have included another jacket for you to wear just, given without the bullet holes. But I'm letting that one slide. Lovely, that fantastic detail around the boots and the jeans, and look at that, there's a little zip here. There's a wash on it to make it look sort of slightly dirtier. There's some sort of greys and browns in amongst the sort of the dark charcoal leather. It's really, really professionally done. It is, however, worth pointing out that I had a little bit of difficulty getting this Winchester into this hand. Had to sort of just slot it in and then twist it round, but it was very, very firm, very, very difficult to get in without worrying that I might break what is effectively very delicate plastic here. So I'm not going to dock it any points for that. It's just the usual sort of worry with NECA figures that they're just going to snap. It's more my paranoia than the actual build. Okay, so now here comes the moment of truth. Let's remove this head. See how easy that is. Oh, God. Oh. Jesus. Okay. Relatively easy. New head. Slot it in. It's great. It looks like something out of The Thing with this really long neck. Pop. Oh, there you go. Pops on neat. Again, lovely firm neck posability. Rightio, so maybe the most fussy and fiddly of all the outfits, but also arguably the coolest. This is the Cyberdyne Showdown version. So as you can see, it's got the bandolier of grenades that go in the blooper grenade launcher gun here, and a giant bag of ammo hanging from his shoulder, which then feeds into the minigun. Now, only point of contention with this figure, and it obviously won't apply to all versions of the same figure, but look at this. The actual minigun itself is suffering from separation of the plastic. It is made by two fairly complicated sections of the plastic that have come apart. I'm going to have to glue this back together, and I'm not sure it's going to work, so it's always going to be a slightly dodgy looking minigun for me. Aside from that, and the slight fiddliness of trying to get him posed with so many things hanging off him. Look at that. Look at that. Come on. It looks amazing. The detail on the minigun is superb. The way everything hangs off him, apart from obviously this grenade launcher hanging there. Yeah, for display, it doesn't really get much better than this from this iconic scene. If I was going to buy one of the original Terminators, I was toying with the idea of, from the original NECA line, of getting this one in particular. So, since this ultimate version fulfills all criteria there, plus leg articulation and everything else it's got going for it, that's a huge, huge win for me. So, yeah. Fantastic detail on the bandoliers and everything like that. And it looks a little bit unsteady, like he's going to topple over any second, but mainly because anybody would if they were holding a minigun. Of the three facial sculpts, I think this is probably my favorite, since it's got this kind of, it's got the blank but determined look of the T-800 from the bulk of the movie, and incredibly good likeness of Arnold, gotta say. I've seen some reviews with bad paint jobs or slightly blotchy, and issues with the eyes, with the eyeballs ending up on the eyelids and the eyelids ending up on the eyeballs, but no, looking at this, it's perfect. It's about the most perfect Arnold face I've ever seen in an action figure. Then again, I haven't been collecting NECA for all that long, so you guys may be used to it by now. And third and final, this is the Hasta la Vista, baby version of the T-800 from the factory scene at the very end of T2. Now, as with the Winchester, I had some difficulty with getting this grenade launcher into this hand. Eventually I just went, oh, I'll just stick it here. He's got very enclosed, like, it's like a bear claw thing, like just crunched over there. I've seen pictures of that in that hand, so it can definitely be done. But, you know, very, very delicate trigger here. You know, just didn't really want to mess with it. The Colt itself is being held up like that, which is a little bit awkward. Also, it's a little bit small in his massive Austrian hand. But I suppose it's size accurate. You know, not going to criticize them for Arnold being huge. Beautiful, intricate detail and screen accurate as well on the facial prosthetics here for the T-800 endoskeleton. Look at that. And little blood spots here just to show that he's also, you know, filled with human blood, it would appear, which is disturbing, but true of Terminators. Maybe my second favourite, because obviously this is connected with some very emotional, you know, high-intensity moments from the end of the film. And there's something really kind of noble about a machine that's been battered to the point where it can't pass as human anymore and just keeps soldiering on. So, yeah, really love this version as well. I mean, all three are great. And I'm extremely chuffed that they made this. I really am, because I was just about to get the Cyberdyne Showdown version. And the fact that this, you know, also has this lovely leg articulation. You got movement here, the knee joints as well, the ball jointed, and the calves as well, the ball jointed ankles. It's fantastic. And just knowing that, whoop! Just knowing that this figure can do that stuff, whereas the other ones can't. I'm glad I made this purchase now, and I would urge you, if you're a big Terminator fan, you probably already got one anyway. If you like action figures, you're a big Terminator fan, already got one. But I would urge NECA themselves to just make ultimate versions of all kinds of figures that you've already made. You know, like, can we get an Ultimate Hicks? You can't find Hicks anymore. So, you know, we need an Ultimate Hicks. Can't find Carl Reese either. Ultimate Carl Reese. You know you wanna. So let's talk score here, shall we? Okay, minigun, that is a problem. But I can't really dock this figure points for that, because obviously your mileage may vary. If you have a perfectly good minigun, then my score there won't apply to you. So I'm just going to go ahead and say that was a shame. I will try to glue it, and I will do my best with it. In terms of sculpts, in terms of heads being additional there, absolutely 10 on 10, full marks there in terms of like that it looks exactly like the T-800 Terminator. Just move that so you guys can see the chilling spare heads he's got there. In terms of accessories and weapons like this, 10 on 10. I can't think of a single thing that they have forgotten to include here. And this bandolier here, just... I'm trying to think of problems I have with this. Okay, the hands. If I'm going to be super persnickety, the hands are a pain, just in terms of getting the weapons in and out of them. And, you know, you don't want me to just be gushing and giving 10s to absolutely everything. So maybe I'll take a point off for the fact that the hands are fitted. Half a point. Should we take half a point off for that? Because, I mean, you know, ultimately, it doesn't really matter unless these things break. If they break, call that a full point, at least. But, I mean, in terms of articulation, in terms of detail, paint job, just the variety that you can add to this figure. I mean, it's pretty much the closest to it. And the box as well. Did I not mention? I mean, the presentation style of the box. Look at this. That is as much figure of Terminator as you could ever really want. I suppose if you have at least one of the previous NECA Terminators at home, knock a point or two off in terms of the fact that it doesn't really add all that much to what you already have. You know, you got articulation, you got extra accessories maybe. Aside from that, for the price, which is not much more than the standard NECA figure, this is a perfect figure. An almost, hands, perfect figure. So shall we give this a 10 with the proviso that you guys know that I have a problem with the hands? You know what? Shut my mouth. I actually did find a very, very easy way to get this grenade launcher into this left hand. No problem at all. So yeah, you know what? I retract that. It's still hard to get the Winchester into this hand, but you know. Also, one other thing that I figured was missing, and if you're going to be really pedantic again, like they didn't put everything into the box. One previous version of the Terminator was after the T-1000 had been at him and torn his arm off, leaving him with a sort of a splintered cybernetic arm down there. They could have technically included a removable arm and that as an alternate arm if you really want to, like, if you want everything and that alternate chest. But I mean, that's about it, pretty much. So I retract the whole thing about the hands and this thing. Just because they went so overboard in providing everything else you could possibly want. And I want to reward NECA for really going that extra mile. And I want to encourage them to do this more. So I'm giving this my first 10. And I'll be getting the Sarah Connor and probably the T-1000 as well, just so that he's not lonely on the shelf. So there you have it, T-800. Practically perfect in every way. He's like Mary Poppins in that regard.
actionfigureresource.com. Yesterday's toys, today's treasures.